the Niners paid George Kittle. It's a big contract. George Kittle's very good. He's 31. He's been banged up, but he mostly plays every Sunday. So, but I do believe they have to pay George Kittle. So I was thinking about this. I've said before, the Niners missing a lot of draft picks. Shanahan, in my opinion, from what I've been told, kind of controls the draft. I didn't love their draft this weekend. I thought some weird picks. But the Niners are sort of the opposite of the Chiefs and the Rams. Okay, the Chiefs walked away from Tyreek Hill, Snead, the very talented corner, D. Ford, Charvarius Ward, Joe Tooney. They walked away from Juju Smith-Schuster, say what you want, was their number one receiver in the playoffs. They walked away from him. Why? Mahomes. The Rams walk away. The minute Cooper Kupp ages, bye. Trent Williams has been aging for years. So's Christian McCaffrey. They're not letting him go. Todd Gurley led the league, I think, in touchdowns back-to-back years, started aging. McVay's like, get him out of here because he trusted Goff. And Kansas City trusts Mahomes. Is the Niners, they're the opposite. They pay almost everybody. Even when they lose guys like the safety Hufanga, they wanted to pay him. They couldn't make it work. But I was looking this morning at the notable Niner contracts. They're top of the market for all of them. Christian McCaffrey, positional money rank, second. George Kittle, first. Trent Williams, first. Fred Warner, second. Nick Bosa, top 5. Brandon Ayuk, top 7 as a receiver. And my take is why? Because of Brock Purdy.
Oh, my God.
Dallas does this. They'll pay Micah top of the market. They'll pay CeeDee Lamb top of the market. Whatever you think about a quarterback, teams are not going to come out and tell you what you want to hear, Purdy. They're not going to what you want to hear. Guys like me want to hear the Niners be honest about Purdy. They're not going to do that. But what they decide to move off of or re-sign, I mean, San Francisco's old. Why are the Rams so young? Because they trust McVay and Stafford. They move off Jalen Ramsey, a Gurley, a Kupp. They move off good corners. They move off people all the time. The minute you show age, you're out. Von Miller, bye. Buffalo, you pay him. And I think a great head coach and a truly great quarterback gives you so much freedom. Rams don't pay anybody on defense. Look it up. They don't pay anybody. They're the opposite of the Steelers, who pay everybody on defense. Why? They have to. They're not good at quarterback.
Okay. You know what doesn't really make sense? The whole idea to get quarterbacks like Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, to, pay them less is so you can then pay for these other players. So now it's bad to pay, CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons? Like, what? You aren't going to pay CeeDee Lamb? And you only pay CeeDee Lamb because you don't believe in Dak Prescott? What? Have the Kansas City Chiefs moved on from Travis Kelce? No, I don't think they have. And that's Kittle has been the 49ers' Travis Kelce. So that's why they're keeping Kittle. Okay? The 49ers don't have the version of a Juju. So yeah, Tyreek Hill wanted the farm. Okay? And I got news for you. The Chiefs wish they still kept Tyreek Hill because their offense hasn't been the same since. We know that. This has become a defensive-led team. A defensive-led team for the Kansas City Chiefs. They paid Chris Jones. Like, this isn't just about, like, oh, we trust Patrick Mahomes so we can move on from guys. We don't trust Brock Purdy. I mean, you're talking about some monsters here. Christian McCaffrey, Kittle. Yeah, the Ayuk was the bad deal that the 49ers reportedly, want to move on from. They wish they didn't do. But Trent Williams, they're just going to move on from him? Did the Eagles move on from Lane Johnson? Nick Bosa, the monster that he's in, you're supposed to just move on from him? Like, I'm just a little confused by this, honestly. I really am. Because they haven't really had to pay a quarterback for the last, 4 years or whatever. And even when they had Jimmy Garoppolo, that was like such a cheap deal relative to what quarterback contracts became. So then they spent the money. I don't understand. What's the problem with that? I don't get it. Especially because you have those contracts taken care of. You paid Brock Purdy. When it's time for McCaffrey, Williams, etc., for those guys to fall off, which they will, it'll be done. Like the money will be spent, and they will move on from Christian McCaffrey. They will move on from Williams, etc., etc. But like I don't understand where we're saying like, oh, like Todd Gurley's knee just was done. His body just was done on him. It wasn't that he just got old. Okay? Same thing with Cooper Kupp. So like I'm just not so sure about that here. And they were very fortunate that Puka Nacua was awesome. But you want to say we talked about like, oh, well, the Rams and with McVay and Stafford, they moved on from all these people. What have they done since they won that Super Bowl? Like what have they done? Which was awesome. They went all in and they won their Super Bowl, no doubt. They played the Cincinnati Bengals. The 49ers had the unfortunate luck of having to go up against the Kansas City Chiefs twice. So like, it's bad. It's, unfortunate. Yeah, the Eagles were able to break through and win for sure. But the Rams played the Bengals. Okay? The Rams Sean McVay got to have the upper hand in that Super Bowl because he actually had Super Bowl experience. Unlike the Bengals. So that's a huge advantage. A massive, massive, massive advantage. Oh, but the Bengals beat the Chiefs. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. You got Kansas City Chiefs fans who still believe that they're better than the Philadelphia Eagles, and they got rocked in the Super Bowl. So it's always convenient when we want to play that game when a win means you're better and when a loss means you're worse. But no one in their right mind could pretend like it wasn't. Who would you rather face in a Super Bowl? The Ravens, the Bills, the Bengals, or the Chiefs? We all know that answer. So don't give me that nonsense. So the Rams won that Super Bowl, and then they haven't gotten close to getting another one. And I think the Rams are a great team and will win and be successful. I'm a huge fan of McVay and the franchise and Stafford. So like this isn't me being anti-Los Angeles Rams here, but like we have to tell the complete story here. If the Rams went off and won another Super Bowl, hat to you, I get it. We can really use them as a frame of reference for sure. But like you could make the argument that the way how the 49ers operate, they've been to multiple Super Bowls. So yeah, they didn't come away with that win. They were that close. They were that close. And that quarterback that Colin is saying that the 49ers don't trust, that quarterback left the field with the lead in the Super Bowl. And like I've already said a million times, I'm not rehashing it. A whole collection of events needed to go down for them to not win that Super Bowl. And yeah, that's on the 49ers. It just is what it is. But it doesn't mean the way how they now run their team is just fundamentally wrong. And the Rams, who won a Super Bowl in the last, like, I don't even know, man, like what, 50, I guess last time was Kurt Warner before Stafford, right? I assume. I'm trying to think through the quick math in my head. So it's just like, let's be easy. Let's relax here. Let's chill. You know what team also pays a lot of players? The Philadelphia Eagles. And they've been to 3 Super Bowls in the last 8 years and won 2 of them. So use the Eagles as a frame of reference. Don't use Sean McVay and Stafford. And people said the same thing about the Eagles. Oh, they don't trust Jalen Hurts. When they paid for A.J. Brown, Devontae, that O-line, and Saquon, people said, this means to me that the Philadelphia Eagles don't trust Jalen Hurts. Really? They relied on Jalen Hurts a lot. They trusted him so little that they asked him to throw on the first drive, 4th and 3, and had him throw the ball like 30 yards down the field. That's asking a lot for a quarterback who they don't trust. If you want to talk about paying some of these players and their age, or letting Brandon Ayuk back them into a corner, like, that's all fair game and understandable. But the way they conduct business is not somehow this, plant the flag. This means they don't trust Brock Purdy. Like, that does not make sense. That does not make sense. And paying CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons is not why the Cowboys struggle. It's not. It's just not. It's because then they don't then make that next step. They could have paid CD and Micah and Dak just like the Philadelphia Eagles did. But what did the Philadelphia Eagles do to get better? They drafted smart. They hired the right coaching staff. And then they make another big play. Let's get C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Let's get Bond. Let's pay for Saquon Barkley. If the Cowboys did that in any of their 12-win seasons, there's a great chance they could find themselves over the hump. But they didn't. They didn't bring it home. That's on them. It's not just because they paid CeeDee Lamb. Like, huh? Doesn't really make sense. So, yeah. Listen, are the 49ers in a weird situation currently right now? Yeah. They're in, they're a little bit in limbo right now. And especially just because they came off of a bad injured season. And people forget that the year before that, they were just in the Super Bowl. Now you got some key players who are getting older. Kittle, obviously, it's always uncomfortable when you pay someone in the amount of money that you pay him and he's 31. You want the guy to be 26. I get that. Christian McCaffrey coming off a whole, encyclopedia of injuries. I get it. He's been hanging on by a thread. I'm not so confident that they should have paid him all that money. But the thing is that when Christian McCaffrey's on the field, he's so transcendent that you go, all right, probably worth the risk here. Probably worth the chance here. Because that's how valuable he is. And they were going for it. It's easier to make decisions after you've already won the Super Bowl compared to when you haven't quite won that Super Bowl just yet. But I mean, you can make the argument that if the Rams kept OBJ and kept Von Miller and ran it back with Cooper Kupp, etc., maybe they win another Super Bowl. I'm just, I don't know. Not everything is an indictment on Brock Purdy. We can talk about if we think that the 49ers are making mistakes and that they paid Bosa too much money. And I'm just saying random names here. Fred Warner, whatever. Like, we can have that conversation. But we gotta tell the whole story here. Because did they trust Stafford when they went out and got OBJ and Von Miller in the middle of the season? I mean, if they just trusted him, well, then they wouldn't have needed, but they're like, no, we don't have enough. Cooper Kupp wasn't enough, right? No, they needed more firepower. They just went out and got Devontae. They moved on from Cooper Kupp, yeah, and got another older player who they paid, but they're kind of trying to look at it more on the short term because they know Stafford's probably only really going to be Stafford for another couple of years. So come on. It's not like they got rid of, Cooper Kupp and then just now they're running it with, Puka Nacua and now some first or second year player here. They went out and got Devontae, who's had massive production, who's coming off a weird couple of seasons, so they were able to get him probably for a discount, relatively speaking, of what his production is. But, you know, it wasn't just because they trust Matthew Stafford. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the 49ers and the decisions that they're making right now? Do you believe that their Super Bowl window is already closed? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.